There's been a lot of talk in the gun channels lately about this standoff between the cattle rancher in Nevada and the Bureau of Land Management. Now, a lot of people are asking me what I think of all this. What's my opinion of the whole situation? Well, first off, I'm going to say I don't support the rancher himself at all. I think he's a taker. I think he's a corporate welfare rancher. I think he's someone that thinks he has the right to grow rich off of something he doesn't own, something he didn't work for, something he didn't earn, but somehow has some sort of clandestine right to just because his grandparents grew rich off of it and his parents grew rich off of it. I also don't like this whole idea of people throwing around that it must be some sort of conspiracy because it happened to him all of a sudden. No, this has been going on since 1993. He decided back in 1993 that he didn't need to pay his share anymore. He didn't need to pay the stuff he was legally required to pay to use land that doesn't belong to him. He's lost 3 federal cases and the appeals on all those cases. This isn't some poor individual that's put upon by the federal government. This is a very wealthy man who has the means to fight. All he wants to fight, he just doesn't want to pay. So I don't support him at all. What I do support is the people that are showing up and saying, hey, the government handled this wrong. Because what the government did in this situation is they didn't just say, okay, you can't use the land anymore. We're going to hire a team to come in and gather up the cattle and sell them and take what you owe in back fees and give you the rest. They came in there with jackbooted thugs in a way to intimidate everyone into submission. They came in with a show of force saying, well, if we come in there guns a-blazing with our boots bloused and on our flak jackets on, people will not dare fight back. They'll just kind of stand aside and not say anything. Now, like I said, I'm okay if the government hired a team of ranchers to come in there and clear the land, collect the cattle, etc. And then if they met force, and then if they were fought against, if they were fired upon, then send in a team of people to deal with that force. But you don't go in there guns a-blazing first, and that's what the federal government did. They came in with their show of force, then they started stomping on the rights of people that came there to protest. These are public lands. People had a right to be there and a right to express their First Amendment. But these people started telling them, you can only say this in certain areas. And if you get out of those areas, we're going to treat you like criminals, even though you're not and you're on public land. That's the thing I really have a problem with. I hate this whole super militarized attitude that law enforcement and agencies like BLM have taken, especially with law enforcement. I don't like the militarization of law enforcement. When you militarize the police, all you end up doing is living in a police state. So even though I don't support this rancher, I support the people that said, hey, this ain't right. And they showed up armed. Not to start trouble, not to be offensive, but to stand vigilant and make sure the government wasn't abusing their power, which they were abusing their power. So, like I said, I don't support this rancher at all. I don't have to support him. It's like if I see the police arresting someone outside my house and they're violating his rights, they're physically abusing someone that submitted himself willingly to arrest, and I say, hey, you can't do that. And if they say, well, this guy just raped a 90-year-old, I have to say, well, I don't care what he did. I'm not defending him. I'm saying you can't do what you're doing. What he did doesn't justify what you're doing. I can stand up for the rights of the citizen without standing up for that particular citizen, specifically. So that's kind of where I'm at here. I don't support the rancher at all, but I support those people that showed up to fight back against a federal agency that was abusing its power. Because if you ask me, this is a perfect example of why the First Amendment is so important in this country. It's important to keep agencies like this under control. And it's also an even better example of why the Second Amendment is so important to protect the First.